Hello and welcome to Passion Universe. I'm your host Oma Hagoma, and today is a very special episode. My guest is one of the best heavyweights in the UK and professional wrestling. He held the All Wales Championship for 1,000 plus days. He's a head coach and the tribal chief of New Wave Wrestling. Bronco, Brendan, White, how
Okay.
are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Good introduction there. I love that.
Thank you. So, since I introduced you as a tribal chief of New Wave Wrestling, I feel like that would be a good place to start. Could
Yeah.
you tell me about your recent appearance on SmackDown during Money in the Bank weekend?
It's a bit of a strange one it was because obviously I got emailed to go there and stuff, and you have to do your general checkups and stuff like that, like blood tests and health tests and all that kind of stuff. So when I got there on the day, I was kind of like just chilling out, catering and stuff. It was nice, and then yeah, we met with Regal and stuff, William Regal and stuff, and then
Amazing.
yeah, we get called then to a room then and saying, "Oh, you're gonna do a backstage thing with Roman and the Bloodline and stuff." And we were just like, "Oh, okay." And then we was in a meeting room. Then it was like me and a couple of other guys, like Leon Slater, Derice, Andy Roberts, sorry.
Yeah.
These people. We were just in a room then with like all the who's of wrestling. Triple H was in there, stuff like that. And yeah, it just ended up being what it was. And like I didn't know I was gonna get front of the stairs, but Roman just grabbed me and threw me. So I was like, okay. I was like, fair enough. Yeah, it was just a real fun day, good experience of kind of what it's like in the biggest company in the world. Like, it's kind of yeah, it was real good, and I got to catch up with a couple of old friends as well. Like Pete Dunne, for example, he's someone who's kind of important to
Yeah.
me early on in my career, and we got to hang out for like an hour and have a chat and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Brilliant. Sounds like an amazing time.
It was good. Yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Can you tell me about the first wrestling match or moment that captivated you?
Oh, as a fan or as a wrestler myself, or
Both, if you can.
okay. So when I was like a young kid, like 3 years old, I watched the very first King of the Ring tournament, and that was obviously Bret Hart winning it, but he beat Mr. Perfect, he beat Razor Ramon, and he beat Bam Bam Bigelow for it as well. So that whole show was the thing that got me to wrestling. Obviously, I grew up with it then, and then obviously when I was like 12, then I watched the very first Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble 2000. Yeah, it'd be 10 or 12 or 11, one of them. And yeah, I watched Mick Foley versus Triple H in a street fight at Madison Square Garden. That's the thing that got me back into wrestling, I think.
So you told Wales Online you did not think you had a chance at making wrestling a career for yourself. You also spoke about holding yourself back.
Yeah.
What was your mindset at that time, and how does it compare to your mindset now?
It's interesting because I'm a kid from the valleys, and you get told get a good job, get a good education, and I did all that. I went to uni and stuff, but you just don't think you can make a career out of wrestling. You just never do. And I think the thing that held me back was that kind of mindset of like, oh, it's just wrestling. You can't really make a career out of it. But then my two friends from school, Flash Morgan Webster and Wild Boar, I was in school with them, with the pair of them, and they both made it to WWE. So I was like, okay, actually, maybe I can. They were wrestling, earning little to no money, but they were enjoying life. And I feel like when I had my cancer diagnosis when I was 25, I kind of had a different outlook. And I was like, right, well, I tried for 25 years doing something I don't want to do, so I may as well try and do something I do want to do.
We'll get into all that if you don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah, carry on, yeah. But yeah, 8 years later, I'm kind of doing what I love now, making money from doing what I love, and I think I don't feel like I got a job now, and that's the difference.
So you mentioned going to uni and getting an education. Tell me about your degree
Mm-hmm.
from Swansea University.
Oh yeah, I did history and politics, so I kind of did modern history and then like international politics, so kind of like political philosophy, kind of history, political thought, like Plato, Aristotle, Locke, Hobbes, and then did like military strategy there and stuff like that, like nuclear warfare, studied the Cold War, and obviously like Eastern Europe as well, like not just Nazi Germany, because that's the thing I kind of specialize in. So I'm kind of I've got a good like background in kind of studying Nazi Germany and stuff like that, and it was like Eastern European, like Austria, Czechoslovakia, but Bulgaria and all those kind of Eastern European countries did after Second World War and stuff like that, and just finding out about the smaller countries and obviously stuff like like humanitarian intervention as well as like Rwanda and what happened in '94 there and Kosovo and stuff like that, and kind of studying kind of the political thoughts behind all that kind of stuff. And it was very wide ranging, very interesting stuff. And yeah, I really enjoyed
Yeah,
my degree. Yeah, it didn't give me a job, but I enjoyed it. I got a lot of good skills and a lot of good friends from it. So.
that's my next question actually. So how did you become an insurance worker?
Well, that's the thing. You apply to a grad scheme, don't you? And you kind of end up going there. And my then girlfriend at the time, because I was gonna join like um, it's like a military thing. I was gonna think about going army, navy, something like that. I was thinking about going. And
Hmm.
my then girlfriend at the time, I was with for like 7 years at that point. She was like, if you want to go, that's fine, but I don't want to be the person waiting around for you and stuff. So I was like, fair point. So I kind of ended up getting anything I could, and obviously I worked my way up then, and ended up working in insurance. And yeah, kind of thought it was good money. I enjoy people I work with, and it's good laugh and stuff. And I was kind of content. And I think that's not the way you should live your life, really. But that's kind of what I did for the longest time.
That's a nice segue to the next point.
Mm.
So in 2015, your life changed drastically
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
got diagnosed with cancer. That must have been a
Yes.
really tough experience to go through. Could you share more about that?
Yeah. It was a wild one. So because to go back to that point of my ex girlfriend, that me and my then girlfriend broke up after like a long time, and I was like, right, I got to get into something now and do something. And we no, it was a great breakup. No, I'm very amicable. We're friends, like even to this day. But it's like a case of like, right, what can I do? So I started running, and I was a long distance runner, so I started running. So I did
Yeah,
the Edinburgh Marathon in 2015, and when I was running, just something didn't feel right. Like I just like really bad pains in my stomach and stuff like that, and also my testicle was really hurting and stuff like that. And on the way back from there, then I kind of got convinced to get checked up. Within a week of running the Edinburgh Marathon, I kind of got diagnosed with testicular cancer, and I had the diagnosis on a Thursday, surgery on a Saturday, and it happened all so fast. You just didn't have time to think about it. You just like boom, 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 and then it
oh
was
wow.
yeah, 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 and then there was the prognosis afterwards. Then saying like I had a vascular invasion, which meant the tumor spread to the bloodstream, so it meant there was like a 50% chance of cancer coming back. So it was like a good year or two after the fact that I was kind of in a bad headspace, and kind of not caring for myself as much as I should because you just never knew. Because the doctor
Yeah,
said there's no really symptoms, like so if it comes back or anything like that, then you just don't know it's just gonna happen. So I was in a real bad way. Did a lot of stupid things in terms of like going on nights out and that, not caring about myself, like But the one thing I did do was obviously kind of start taking up wrestling. That's the only kind of good thing I did. Doing that time because that's the only thing I thought. Well, I may as well try something I don't want to do. Well, try something I always wanted to do. And my friends are already wrestling as well, so it's kind of made sense to do that. But yeah, it was a rough couple of years that from 2015 to 2018. I'd say it was pretty well timed.
is it safe to say wrestling saved your life in a way?
Um, I think no, it didn't save my life. Yeah, I feel like I had that kind of drive to go like I just survive anyway. I just had that kind of determination about me. And that's kind of me as a person, to be honest. I wasn't gonna let that define me. But I think wrestling gave me a perspective of, or the diagnosis gave me a perspective of, like I said, if you truly do what you enjoy, then it's not a job. Then it's kind of like I got a lot of things going on now, but it's like it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like
Yeah,
I'm just loving life, and that's kind of the important part, I think. So
it's your passion.
yeah, yeah, it is, and I like to think it shows in any kind of match I do, any kind of show I do, any kind of car journey I do. It all comes out, and I kind of want like there's no other kind of job where I would be willing to travel 4 hours there and back just
Yeah,
just just to kind of and then still be happy again on what like 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. That's wrestling for you. So
it definitely shows in your work, so I can definitely attest to that.
yeah, I appreciate that.
So how did you go about training to become a professional wrestler?
So I started wrestling when I was like a teenager, so like 13, 14, 15. When I was like, I used to backyard wrestle with Flash, Morgan Webster, and Wild Boar. We used to wrestle in back gardens and stuff. And then we went pro wrestling training back. I'm talking like 13, back in like 2004, something like that. We were in wrestling training in Newport, and I was kind of on and off, obviously, because I didn't really want to be seen to know that I wrestle and stuff, because I was a rugby boy and stuff as well, you know. So I didn't want to be seen to be like, oh, wrestling. But then I quit for like, I don't know, about 7 years. I kind of went to uni and stuff, like I said, got all the education and stuff. And then probably like 2013, then I kind of came back into it a little bit. That's where I became friends with Tegan Knox, Nixon Newell.
Yeah.
She's a close friend of mine. But that's when I first met her, and obviously Wild Boar was coaching at the time there in Port Talbot for Welsh Wrestling, and naturally I quit again. So that was like 2013, like towards the end of 2013. I started training properly then, probably like when my relationship ended. So I started training like from 2014 onwards a little bit, good consistent time, and then obviously cancer diagnosis happened then. So I had another about 6 to 8 months out then. And then I came back, like, made my debut at 25 then, back in like 2016. And that was against Wild Boar. So my debut couldn't have went any better. And from there, then I kind of just got into it. Then it just became a thing. Then
Who stood out to you
yeah.
when you were training and helped you become the wrestler you are today?
Uh, Boar, 100%. Wild Boar's kind of like he's the best wrestler in Europe, in my opinion. And yeah, he's just a very good coach. And it was weird for me to have a friend coach, but he kind of really kind of taught me how to wrestle and stuff. Because I feel like a lot of how to get good at wrestling is like who you get coached by, and then also your own experiences as well. And my kind of wrestling journey has been my own as well. So I've had quite a few unique experiences in which it's kind of so like Boar's give me like the solid foundations, and I've built upon my own foundations with my own experiences. I've done loads of seminars as well, like the Pete Dunne seminars, uh, Chris Hero, Rhino, Atusha Yoki. I did a week out in Scotland for an Old Japan kind of seminar. I've travelled as well. I've kind of built up my experiences over the years, and I wouldn't say it's any one particular thing. But ball is definitely a thing, and obviously like Mike Bird had a hand in training me early doors as well. So I'll always credit him for that. He did have a hand in training me. So I've had some good coaches. I'm quite fortunate in that regard. So yeah, just a mixture of good coaching early doors, and again taught to do things the right way and have the right etiquettes, and not believe in your own hype or not kind of have an ego. Because
Yeah.
if you're not under a good coach or good school early on, I feel like that's where the bad habits start, where you think you're better than what you are, you're not willing to have feedback and everything like that. Whereas like even to this day, I'm still willing to have feedback. It's kind of yeah, that's why New Wave to me is quite special, because it's a team effort, and nobody's too big for their own boots, and everyone works hard and everyone grafts, and it's a team thing. And what you see in the ring is kind of reflective of the school in a way.
Yeah. You mentioned Pete Dunne, who's known as Butch now,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
when I was doing my research, I came across an interview, and you said you had a match with him that showed you're not ready for wrestling yet. Could you tell me more about that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like back in 2018, this was I'd had about 105 matches. I was thinking I was getting really good now. I thought I was getting really good, and then I wrestled Pete, and I realized how bad I was. Like just like you looked at the shape I was in then compared to now as well. I was completely out of shape. But it wasn't just the physical side of things; it was the mental side of things as well. Like he was just listening to the crowd and reacting to the crowd, because a lot of wrestlers have a match down in their head. They plan a match or whatever. They go out there, and then they try and have the match they planned, and then they completely ignore the crowd. And it's like,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, like for example, I wrestled James Ellison on the last show. The crowd were the way they were at the start of the show. I just completely went with that. Like whatever we had planned, we just threw it out the window, because I was just like, well, it's no point. Just get interact with the crowd, enjoy it. And when I wrestled Pete, I realized, because we had a match planned, and I was meant to be the bad guy, he was the good guy, but the crowd ended up cheering me. So
Hmm.
we changed the match completely on the fly. He went with the crowd. Wherever we had planned, he changed, and I was just in awe of how kind of easy it was for him to do that. And I was just there following him like a deer in the headlights. And if you watch our match back, there's one bit there, he gives me his bitter end move. He tells me to get up, kick out. And that was meant to be the end. He told me to kick out on the fly, and I was like, oh my god, this is weird. But then when I kicked out, the big
Yeah.
reaction came then, and yeah, we just kind of that was me. That made me realize how bad it was, and there's a lot of people out there who kind of think they're good after like 50 matches when really it does really take time. And don't get me wrong, it'll come quicker to some people. Like Shane Hooker's an anomaly, he's someone who's getting very, very good really early on. Similar to Leon Cage, he's only 16, he's getting really good really on, he's about 15 matches. But it's some people get quicker than others, but it does take time, and I'm no different than anybody else. I wasn't talented, I wasn't physically gifted in any way, shape, or form. It's just it's just a process. I feel like when you kind of read the room and be a reactionary wrestler, because that's what Pete was. Pete is. He's a reactionary wrestler. He doesn't wrestle the match he has planned. He wrestles to what the crowd are into, and he kind of reacts to that. And I think that's a special skill that takes time. And I think time is the only thing that wrestlers have. And I think really early on, if they have good experiences surrounded by good people, then it encourages the creativity and encourages you to then think, actually, let's not do this. Let's kind of see what the crowd feel like and react that way.
Yeah. Do you find it easier to be a babyface or a heel?
I don't. I quite like doing both, to be honest, because I feel like I'm comfortable in who I am. Because there was times early on when I was like into gimmicks I didn't believe. Like I was a cowboy for for a couple of years, and then I was really just like a trainee wrestler at the start, then a cowboy, and then I've become my own thing now. Like I kind of I'm comfortable in who I am as a wrestler. So I think once you know you are as a wrestler, again that takes time. Again, I'm not just saying that to anybody who ever watches
Yeah.
this interview. I just think it just does take time, and once you're comfortable in who you are, then you just change. Like if I have a match and I don't get a reaction, that's my issue. So I don't find any particular style, babyface or a heel easier. I prefer I like doing both, but I think I only like doing both now because I'm comfortable in who I am as a wrestler. It's not the answer you might wanted, but that's kind of it's knowing who you are as a wrestler is like the fun part, and then whatever you decide to do with that person is. He's like CM Punk, for example. He's like the straight edge character. When he's
Yeah.
a good guy, he's kind of like punk hardcore of a thing. And when he's a bad guy, he's like, I'm better than you because I don't have any vices and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of the same thing, I think. Yes. Once you know who you are, you know who you are.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's a process that you go through. So,
Mm,
yeah.
100%.
What would you say to anyone who wants to become a professional wrestler but doesn't know where to start?
Mm. Do your research. Do your research. There's a lot of, and this is not Wales. This is the UK. There's a lot of schools who will advertise 10 years experience. 20 coaches have got 20 years experience, and then it's like their experience is one match a month for 20 years against the same people in the same area, not improving, not getting any better, and they have no etiquette and how to deal in the professional wrestling world. They kind of go in different places, how to act and how to conduct yourself, and who they've learned by and stuff like that. So just do your research, find out who the coaches are, what they've done, um, and ultimately kind of just look into it, because I feel like early on in your wrestling career is so important for new wrestlers. If they're in the wrong places in terms of being led by coaches who haven't been trained properly themselves, haven't accomplished much in their wrestling career themselves, then that those traits will get passed down. Whereas if you are at a school with great coaches who've travelled Europe, who've been to the WWE, who've kind of, got been taught by good people, then those traits will get passed down. You know what I mean? Because when I was at Parliament about a year
Yeah.
ago, a point was made that toxicity starts in the schools, and I think it's so true. If you kind of start at a place which is not healthy for your growth and development, they're quite territorial and they're quite kind of like, you can only train you can't go anywhere else, then that's an issue. Whereas, like, for example, I'm not just putting over New for example, I'm not just saying good things about my school, for example, but we encourage people to train everywhere. We're just like, you go, because we're so comfortable in what we offer. We're just like, go ahead and see what's like out there. But I know some people went to other schools, not in Wales necessarily, because Wales is quite a good scene at the moment. But
Yeah.
across the UK, they won't let you train anywhere else. They'll convince you that their school is the best school, and and why would somebody say, our school's the best without being willing to let them go elsewhere and see what's like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
just do your research, big style, look at who the coaches are, what they've done, and that's a big thing I say. So anyway, and just be prepared to have fun and work hard, because wrestling's not easy. Because professional wrestling is for everyone, but being one isn't, and I think that's the reality of it. Because everyone can enjoy professional wrestling, everyone can love it, but it's just not for everyone because it's very physical, it's very tough, and what we do is a show, but I wake up every day kind of hurting, and I'm
Yeah.
still young in the grand scheme of things, you know. Whereas, most people my age, like 33, 34, sorry, they're like a lot healthier. You know what I mean? They're a lot less pain than I am, but I still got like 10 years in me easy, but it's like it's hard. It's a very physical thing to do, and I think people need to realize that. But once they do, and they're willing to work hard, then just make sure they are the right people to teach them the right way.
What's different about your style when you first started and now?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good one. I think I used to want to do more. I wanted to do cool moves all the time. So every match I throw a backflip. Every match I do like a lot of throws. I remember I wrestled Ball of Armor back in 2017, and in a tag team match, and we were the bad guys. Me and Harrison Bennett were the bad guys. And in the
Mm.
control in the control section where we kind of isolated one of them team members, I did 17 suplexes. 17. But
Wow.
yeah, yeah. But the problem is with that, it just I don't get the reaction I want. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's a
Yeah.
cool move. That's a cool move." Whereas like I'm not getting booed, I'm not being disliked, and I'm doing too much. So when it comes time to be on the receiving end of some of a beating, I was blown up because I used all my strength and did 17 throws and I couldn't physically do anymore. Whereas like
Mm.
um, early on, I thought doing the coolest moves and doing impressive things would be the things to get the reactions. When now it's like they are still important. I'm not saying like um, do less, but there's that saying in it, less is more, and
Yeah.
make more out of less. And the answer is make more of more. So if you're kind of when I first started, I didn't really appreciate I didn't appreciate kind of how to get a reaction from people. Like, and I said that Pete match is important to me because I realized that because I threw about 10. You can watch a match back. I do about 15 suplexes, Pete. None of them got a
Mm.
reaction more than him twisting my nipples. He had a big reaction twisting my nipples, and I did throwing him around. And I just realized, right, I need to work on getting reactions here. There's a wrestler in New Wave at the moment. His name's Kurt Atlas. He's a very, very talented,
Yeah.
big guy. But I think he's having a problem like I did because he's very much like me when I first started. He does all the cool moves. Really, really, really impressive physical guy. He can do a lot of athletic things. But I think you will realize soon enough that once you start getting like for example, like just him and James Ellis at the moment is like James Ellis does a lot less, but he gets more of a reaction every time. Every time he comes out, people just boo him straight away. And I think Kurt
Yeah.
Atlas needs to find that. He's very, very good. He works very, very hard, and he's getting there. He's getting very good, but it's just he needs to find out that it's not the moves that will get the reactions and people care about you. It's how you carry yourself, what you do, how you do it, and making more of less, but also making more of more. And it's that kind of balance. So I think the answer is I'm going on a tangent here, just using those as examples of people I see in myself. I used to do all the cool stuff and think the cool moves and the cool things would get me kind of notoriety. But the answer is the difference between then and now is that I still do all that stuff, but I will make sure that I make it mean more by making sure my character is portrayed in a different way. Like a shoulder tackle I do is better than a shoulder tackle someone else will do on a show because I know that I will put a lot of fire and energy into it and kind of make sure it's visually impressive. Or I try that's my goal anyway. So like making more of less is a basic shoulder tackle. I will make sure mine's the best on the show, or do my damnedest to make sure it's the best on the show, but make sure it stands out more than anyone else's. And then when I come to doing like the cooler stuff, then I make sure that it'll mean more then by kind of making sure that it's like a song and it's kind of like you do all the way up and then do something. Whereas before, I didn't realize that you could just kind of move after move after move, and I'm thinking, why are they not reacting to me? And because they don't
Yeah.
care about me, and I think that's the difference.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
Mm. Good question. Good question. Good answer.
Thank you. As a 7-year veteran, you tasted success both as singles and as part of a tag team.
Mm.
Do you consider yourself more of a singles wrestler or a tag team specialist?
Interesting. I'd say 7 years. It's been a bit long, but it's a couple of years. But yeah, my point being, I think seven solid is a pretty decent answer. I don't know. I quite like. I think me and Danny Jones are just really good friends with Tag, and we kind of obviously we recently lost the Undisputed British Tag Team Championships, which are the biggest tag team belts in the country, in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just consider myself a wrestler. I don't know. I think the tag team matches are more exciting and more creative, and that kind of gets me going a bit more, to be honest. But yeah, I just like being comfortable in who I am as a wrestler, and then I can kind of adopt to the tag team realm where there's rules and regulations, and making sure you stick to the rules for the most part, and making sure you tell a fun story with four people instead of two. But yeah, I also like. I think I'm quite different to every other heavyweight in the country as well. I think that's what makes me stand out there as well. So yeah, it's interesting. Good question. My answer is I don't consider myself as a tag team wrestler or a singles wrestler. I just consider myself as a wrestler who is kind of
Mm.
malleable and kind of can change to a certain kind of match or stipulation. And I think I wrestle quite differently to everyone else as well. I try to do what I can to wrestle differently to everyone else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Friday, the 4th of August, for the first time ever, the Impact Tag Team titles will be defended in Wales.
Yes.
Greedy Souls take on Subculture. Is that match the most important one in your career?
It might be. It might be. I've had a few important ones that I look back on and think there's stages in my career I look back on. And I think like the Pete match is one I realized how bad I was. I wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. Realized how much better I got. I wrestled Gate Kid
Mm.
at York Hall. Realized that like I can wrestle. I can do this. I believe after that match I could be very very good and achieve things. Winning the belts at York Hall, undisputed British Tag Team Championships, so won them and defended them at the Street Fight at York Hall. That was a big one for me. There's different kind of um, points in my career I consider big, but I think yeah, wrestling for the Impact tag titles is definitely up there. I think it's definitely the most prestigious, and it's going to be in Wales as well. So there's a lot of responsibility on me and Dan, for example, to represent the Welsh scene in the best way. And I feel like winning those Impact belts will be something that I'm looking to do. And obviously look into because my like as far as wrestling's concerned, I've ticked all the boxes. I've done everything I've ever wanted to do in my career. I work with WWE. I've kind of wrestled all over Europe. I'm going to Italy and I'm going to Hungary. I've wrestled in Germany. I've wrestled in Denmark. I've done all the cool stuff. But I feel like the only thing I haven't done is have a professional wrestling contract, or I haven't won a championship with a major company, global company. RevPro is major, but I think major UK company, whereas a global company is the next step. And I feel like it could be the most important in my career, especially if it's going to be on Impact as well and be on American television. It could be the biggest one. It could be the most important. And it's only told I realize I've got a week to go, and I'm kind of like chill about it. When I need to kind of realize it's kind of a big deal, I need to kind of not be so chill about it.
Anything you would like to say to Subculture?
um, Not really. I think we'll do our talking in the ring because they're the ones who beat us for the undisputed British Tag Team Championship. So there's
Yeah.
there's there's a lot of like personally, I like those boys, my friends, but professionally, it's kind of I do have a professional chip on my shoulder, and that's a real thing. People think, oh, that's just wrestling, but like professionally, like you have gripes. You kind of feel like no, I feel like me and Dan are the best tag team in Europe. I feel like we are. Um, and I feel like Subculture are going to be in for a heavy night next week. So we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it.
Are you going to be there?
Hopefully, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nice one. It's in Walkabout
That's the
Cardiff, so
plan.
it'll be a good one.
So you mentioned your wrestling accolades and working for WWE. Is that a
Hmm.
goal of yours, maybe in the future, to be signed by WWE or AEW, maybe?
Yeah, I wanna wrestle for a major company, because like I've worked for the WWE, and that's cool. And my first ever appearance in WWE is in a main event segment of SmackDown, which is really really cool, and that's not lost
Yeah.
on me. But I want a match for a major company, like Impact, for example. That's happening Friday. That's a big bucket list thing. But an AEW
Mhm.
or WWE or WWE Europe 5 happens, NXT Europe 5 happens.
Fingers
You know,
crossed.
is
Mhm.
well, we'll see. But I want to be able to kind of have a contract, have some security in wrestling because I feel like wrestling. The only thing about wrestling at the moment is like there's no security in it. There's no like I'm a member of equity and stuff, so I do get injured, I will get some kind of money, but it's like it's not the same as having a 9 to 5, because if you have a 9 to 5, you get sick pay, you get compensated, and in wrestling it's kind of if you get hurt in a show, then you can't work another show. And I remember last month,
Yeah.
for example, I did like 65 matches in a month in the Clash of the Castle weekend, and the last day or the last 2 days it was ICW at midnight, Progress in a day, and TNT main event the night with Dan Maloney, and that was after like 60 odd matches. I was so beat up, and when I did that match, I was kind of like I struggled to walk for like a week afterwards, and it was very very kind of painful. So yeah, like I don't know why I told you that, but I think my point being is that if I am wrestling a schedule as heavy as that, then I like the idea of security. If I got hurt, I'd be looked after and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
even my old job, for example, I had private health insurance and stuff like that, which I don't have anymore. So, um, like even if I got hurt, the NHS is great and all that, but the private healthcare route, I'd probably go down just because I could recover faster and get the treatment sooner. But I don't have that anymore, and it's kind of like and I've got a school, and that's one big benefit of kind of why I'm able to kind of like have a career in wrestling at the moment. But if I didn't have the school, then I still get by, but there's not a lot of money in wrestling. So, and I think until that changes, I think I'd always want to have a contract of some sort just to make sure that I'm looked after in a certain way.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
You are the longest reigning All Wales champion in history.
Mhm.
Is that your biggest accomplishment in the ring so far?
It's definitely the one that I look at and think because the All Wales Championship symbolised kind of being the best in Wales, and Dragon Pro at the time, like before the pandemic, was a place I'd wrestled for like 4 years, 4.5 years, before I had a chance to kind of wrestle for the belt and win it. And when I won it, that was a big one for me because I was in a neon in Newport, and that's like that's like spiritual home of Dragon Pro, in a way. And I always feel like New Wave. I always kind of want to go back there. So we'll see how that pans out at some point. But it's a case of I've kind of built a new kind of home at the moment in the church in St Andrews with Nathan, my friend. Um, and I really like the community vibe we build in there because wrestling is a community. I feel
Yeah.
like I say on the microphone, everyone from all walks of life can kind of go there, forget about the real world 2 hours, and just have a fun time wrestling. I feel like the church is kind of becoming more than I ever thought it would be. I thought it would just be a good little venue for trainees and stuff, but the show's becoming better because they're not trainee shows anymore. Well, they never were because the standard is so high there that I don't think
It is
people,
so high.
people don't. I don't think people realize how good the shows are, and it's kind of like scary for me because I'm thinking they're catching up to me soon. So I'm kind of like yeah. That's why I'm gonna have to kind of rethink because my original plan was never to run a show, but the people they were so good I couldn't deny giving them a platform if I could. So I could, I did, and we're still doing it. So yeah,
You have shared many locker rooms with different people throughout your career,
yeah.
but in a locker room filled with dream chasers, what makes Brendan White stand out?
Mm. I think I don't know. I think I've always been nice. Yeah, it's just kind of like in every kind of locker room. I always felt like when I first came into wrestling, your position in wrestling or whatever high up you were in wrestling was how you treated people. If that makes sense, like you wouldn't talk
Mm.
to a new wrestler if you were super high up on the card because you're that kind of. And it's not every wrestler because there's a lot of good people in wrestling, but I was around locker rooms, early doors where like there's a lot of egos, a lot of people thinking they're better than each other, and then they won't talk to you because you were just a new wrestler. Whereas from day one, I've always been nice, and I've always treated everyone the same way, and made a conversation with someone from ring crew or cameraman or high up wrestlers and stuff like that. And the more I kind of move up the card and kind of do cooler things, I've still been the same. I've just tried to say hi to everyone, have a laugh with everyone, and kind of, you know, just be nice. I think that's kind of, I think that's the only thing. That's the one thing probably stands me out from everyone else. Really, is just because it's so easy to say, be nice, but put it in practice, even when people are nice to you, is kind of hard. So yeah, I've just always been nice, even though I'm not that same treatment always. There's a lot of great people in wrestling, and I'm not trying to turn some of the negative things. It's not. There's a lot of good people in wrestling, but I've always been around kind of. I've been on lock with it. Everyone wasn't necessarily always nice, and this kind of my kind of one trait is that everybody from all levels of wrestling, kind of whether from trainee level to wherever, I feel like I've always been nice to people. I think the New Wave Academy students and all that, I think they'll all, if they ever ask you what I'm like, they'll tell you that me totally know it's not a facade. It's just me being kind of chill and nice to people, and that's probably the only thing I would say is different about everyone else and myself. I'm not to say
Yeah.
everyone else is nice, but like, I make an effort to be nice. My philosophy is people who like what they do it better. I love what I do, and I
Mm.
try and do it better all the time. So yeah,
What are some of your short-term goals in wrestling?
I want to grow the new wave teenage classes at the moment because I feel like I started recently doing it because I've always been put off by like training people under the age of 18, but I've got a teenage class now. I've got 5 of them, and they're just really, really good. They're really good.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I did a Sunday class the other day, and I invited the teenagers to come to that one as a one-off, and they were better than half the adults. And I mean, like, and they've been trained for like 9 weeks from scratch, and I'm like, okay, I got there's something here. And that Leon Cage, for example, he's 16, and I just kind of change my mind on people like that. But when I first met Leon Slater, he was like 15, 14, and he wrestled Will Ospreay at York recently, and he's just unbelievable. He's only 18 now, and I feel like there's I need to get the word out to kind of get more teenagers in these teenage classes. So I feel like it's a good place for them to grow and really good, just real good. I want to grow the school a bit more. We got like about 36 students now, regular monthly members and stuff. I kind of want to get more. I want to get up about 50 to 70, so I can give more security to people who coach for me and stuff, and obviously myself. But also, kind of, the more we get, the more opportunities I can provide to people, because I feel like the church is one great place to have a platform, but then we could go for other places and kind of get more platforms, run more shows. So my short term goal is more to do with the school and my own career, because I've already done more in my career than I ever thought I would. So that's not to say my expectations were always low. I just never thought I'd ever wrestle at York, or I never thought I'd ever wrestle at Progress or RevPro or OTT or WXW. I never thought I'd do any of that, and I've done it all. So I'm just like, so I'm happy with my career, and kind of obviously I'm still very much want to be like a top level wrestler. I still train like that, and when I'm on shows, I make sure I'm kind of one of the better matches on the show, and kind of make sure I'm one of the best on the show, and try to have the best matches always. I'm very much that. I'm very much a professional wrestler first and foremost, but for me now, I'm thinking about the school and kind of what I can do for other people, because I feel like if I put more good into the Welsh wrestling scene, particularly put more good wrestlers in the Welsh wrestling scene, then that'll lead to kind of it being a buzzing environment, and as you've seen with the new wave shows, they're getting better and better and better, and the crowds are getting busier and busier and busier, and that's kind of what I want. I want to make sure
Yeah.
that we get best in front of the biggest crowds, having a scene that worth talking about, and kind of spreading the word. So I think my short-term goal is more to do with the school than it is me, and making sure that we got more members, more teenagers. Let's build that class up. Let's build the school. Let's put awesome wrestlers in the scene. So that's kind of my goal.
Tell me the story that led to the formation of New Wave.
Ha, that's an interesting one because um, so in the pandemic stuff, I was working from home and stuff, and my job was really taking straight on my mental health. It was kind of like wake up because I had no gym to go to, couldn't wrestle, and couldn't see my friends. And my 3 outlooks, my 3 kind of things to kind of help me, weren't there. They were taken away, and all I was doing is sat at home, boop, phone goes off, boop, phone goes off, and I was just a bit like, I can't do this. So an opportunity came up to take redundancy, which I applied for, and I got the redundancy for my job. So I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So that gave me a security then to like really kind of like my thought process was I'm just gonna keep the money, buy a house, and then kind of just get another job and just wrestle like be a weekend warrior sort of thing. But then Flash rings me up and says that Dragon Post for sale. Why are you buying it? Like you should definitely buy it. And I was like, I'm not the person to run the school. Like I'm not that guy. But he said I was the most experienced. Kind of I've done the most in Wales and stuff, and I've kind of the right person for it. And I was kind of like, nah. And anyway, kind of he convinced me anyway, and I ended up buying it. But when I because it was Hitch that Wild Ball didn't want to run it as much anymore. So when I did buy it, I said to him that I'll only buy it on the caveat of you still coach because and he turned around and said to me, coaching is the only thing he loves doing. Like, he doesn't want to deal with the overheads, the kind of deal with people, you know, because there's a lot to. Not to say he didn't do it because he did it, he did very well, but he just didn't want to deal with it anymore. There's quite a lot to deal with, like on top of it, because he obviously contracted WWE at the time as well, so it's quite a lot to kind of do along with his own wrestling career, which I understood. But if I bought the school without him as a coach, then what am I buying? You know, because like I'm good, but at the time, well, and I have been coaching. Like I was coaching doing Dragon Pro as well, so I do have experience as being a coach as well. So I'm not gonna undersell myself, which is a theme I do quite a lot. I undersell myself quite a lot, but yeah,
Very
I kind
humble.
of you have to be because I think if you have an ego and you're not very good, then it just makes it look worse. But yeah, eventually I got convinced to, and I bought it. And Hitch agreed to the coach because that's the thing you want to do. And yeah, I was able then to kind of put a deposit down and move the school from Cathays to Newport. We have a ring up 24/7. We got a gym there. We got showers there, and yeah, it's just a great training school now. And I'm very kind of flattered to kind of be the person to kind of evolve it to a point where. But that's the thing as well. When I bought it, I wanted to make a new start as well. So I wanted to change the name of it. I wanted to kind of make sure that it wasn't the old Dragon Pro. I want to make sure it was my own thing as well and put a bit of a personal touch on it. So New Wave Wrestling was the name of our backyard thing when we used to wrestle as teenagers. So I wanted something
Oh,
personal to me. So that's why it's called New Wave Wrestling because it was our back. Like if you search NWW backyard wrestling or something like that on YouTube, you probably find us wrestling as teenagers. Yeah, so I wanted something personal to me, and I thought that's my thing now. So I'm gonna keep the elements of Dragon Pro in terms of like good coaching, working hard, good ethics and stuff like that. But make it my own, and I think that's kind of where we're at now. And yeah, that was a decision I. So I don't own a house. I I bought the wrestling school instead, and I kind of gonna regret that at some point. But I'm following my passion. I'm following. I believe in what I'm doing, and there's some new shows where like the new SM, for example, I lost about 600 or 700 pound on that one, but I still ran the show anyway because obviously I believe in what I'm doing. And if I didn't believe in what I'm doing, I wouldn't have done it. But I'm never going to run a show the same day as a Welsh game, PTK in Cardiff, and all these other acts in Cardiff. Everything happened in Cardiff that day, except I didn't realise. So I took a hit, and I was going to pull it. I was going to cancel it, but I was like, nah, I can't do it to the people who train me. I can't do it to the fans who come to the shows. And I think after New Year 7, 8 and 9 are sold out already. Well, 8 sold out within 2 weeks left to go. New Year 9 sold out yesterday. And I feel like I did the right thing. I did right by the people who train. And I did right by the fans who came to see the shows because I didn't want to cancel it. So that's. And I took a financial hit there, but I believe in what I'm doing. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I won't make anything, sometimes I lose. But I believe in putting these shows on to make sure that everyone has a good time. And I feel like that's the balance in that with New Wave, I think, and that's why I took it over. I don't get it right all the time, but it's a passion project, and I think that's why now I'm starting to realize that I am probably the right person to run the school because I want everyone to do well. So
yeah. There was a different energy at New Wave 8. I think you can help me explain more about that.
yeah, so at New Wave 8, the one just gone. I kind of after New Wave 7 because it was nobody's fault. It was just everything was running on Cardiff and there was loads of bands on, loads of events going on. And I was like, because 10 days before that New Wave 7 show, I sold 12 tickets. But in the end, we ended up having 70 people in, which is cool. But I still done the show on 12 tickets. I don't know any promoter who does that. Just me, guys, have been an idiot. But when New Wave 8 came around, I said to everyone, let's just go what we kill it because I know how good we are and I know that people will come and watch us and we sold our show with 2 weeks left to go. Everyone was hyped up, everyone was buzzing, and how I do these shows, I put inexperienced people against experienced people. That's what I do,
Yeah.
and I build them up to the point where if you look at, I'll use I'll use Shane Hooker and James Ellis as two examples. Shane Hooker when he first came in, he wrestled JJ, more experienced than him. He wrestled Hitch, more experienced than him. He wrestled Danny Jones, more experienced than him. I constantly I tag him with Harrison Bennett was more experienced than him. Just constantly putting him in the ring with better people for him to get better. And then on that New Wave 8 show, then I decided to put him against Leon Cage, who has only had 10 matches. But again, Leon Cage's first match against Connor Mills, his second match against JJ, and put him in there with these experienced people to give him a taste of what it's like to be in there with someone better than them. And New Wave 8 was
Yeah.
a good one for me because for the first time I put Shane and Leon together, two relatively inexperienced people. But I said to Shane, you're at the level now where I think you can be someone to kind of help someone else now. So I'll give it a go and see what happens. And obviously we saw what happens. Magic happened. He had a real special match with Shane on that show.
Yeah.
We also saw James Ellis wrestle me on that show where it was full circle moment for him. Because he's been in there with the hit chairs. He won the belt. He wrestled Michael Oku. He wrestled, all these great people. And if you look at them two at the start of New Wave to what they are now, they're just different wrestlers, completely different wrestlers. Like if I'm not like anybody else. Like if somebody else kind of did a trainee show, they put trainee against trainee, and for me that doesn't wash because it's like green versus green equals green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get better at wrestling people at the same ability level as you. Whereas like Tilly Rose, for example, her first match was against Rain Leverkusen. Like she would never have that experience otherwise. But I feel like, given her Rain, who's in my opinion one of the best in the country, Rain and Danny Luna are like two of the best in the country. Put them in the ring and get her in their very first match. She'll have an experience now which will make her realize, oh, okay, I want to do this, and that's what I want. I want to put her in matches where she's protected and kind of under the learning tree of kind of people above her. So when she gets to a point where Shane is, somebody new will come through, help them, and then that's it. That's like that New Wave Leon and Shane match was like that's if I had to explain what I'm about and what I want to achieve, that kind of match and that kind of experiences they both had to get to that point is exactly what I want. And obviously for New Wave 9 now, we got the Undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship belt getting defended. Shane, Leon, Alex Vaughan, and Connor Mills. And that's just another kind of thing I can add because I got good connections and good relationships with other promoters across the country and stuff. And I want to be able to kind of bring that to the New Wave shows as well because I think for some reason I'm the most connected man in wrestling at the moment, or one of them. I just think I've just been nice to everyone so people just remember me. So if I ask, can you come down and like can Michael Ogu come down and wrestle for me? Yes. Can Andy Wild come down and wrestle for me? Yes. Can Connor Mills come and wrestle for me? Yes. There's people I can ask to come down who would wrestle for me because they like me and I've always gone with them and stuff and wrestled them myself. So it's kind of that kind of vibe as well.
Paving the way forward.
Yeah, paying it back as well. Paying the way forward. This is how wrestling should be. This is how it can be. And just like, because I say to Shane and people like Alice all the time, like, they don't owe me anything. They don't. They don't at all. I just want to make sure that what I'm doing for them, they remember. So when it comes to their turn to do it back, that they do the same thing and keep building the scene up, And they're just two examples. There's Alex Vaughan's another good example. Kurt Atlas is another good example. There's about 10, 12 people at the moment who are really kind of excelling. And yeah, I just want them to remember that, it's not always about just your career. It's about kind of building other people up. And that's what wrestling should be, about building each other up. And I'm fortunate people like Nico Angelo at the school as well to help build these people too,
Yeah.
and just and that's the thing about training. Like, we have very good advanced people in our training sessions, kind of really top level pros, kind of helping train with the newer guys and build them up. And that's what the show's about. That's what the training school's about.
Who do you have
Okay.
your eyes on as the next breakout star at New Wave? I know you mentioned so many people already, but if you can just point out one.
Oh, that's interesting. It's hard to name one. Uh, interesting.
So many,
I'll
I
name
know.
someone. Yeah, yeah. I'll name someone who is in my teenage class. Actually, if you want, there's this kid.
Hmm?
There's this
Yeah,
kid in my
sure.
teenage class called Tyree. His name's Tyrese Hool. He's 17, 16, 17-year-old kid, and he started training for us, and he's like very shy, very quiet, along with all the other teenagers as well. But he has something which I can't explain to you, and he ain't gonna be on a show anytime soon. He won't be on a show anytime soon. He's not ready to wrestle yet, but when he is, and if he sticks with it, I think he's gonna be someone I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on. But obviously, there's the obvious candidates: James Ellis, Shane Hooker, Leon Cage,
Yeah.
Kurt Atlas, Alex Vaughn. Who else on these shows? Uh,
Nico Angelo.
oh, geez. Nico. Oh, Nico's a star already. He's already
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
Harrison Bennett, so he's already there. You know, I'm talking more about the people we're bringing up now. Ethan Thomas, he's getting very, very good.
Hmm.
You know, Alexander Hyde, he's getting good. Uh, Aluna Blue's getting very good. Chris Bronson is like a gem. I don't understand how he's not everywhere. Um, there's so many. Splits McPins is fantastic. There's so many good wrestlers out there. So yeah, there's I couldn't pick one, but there's one. There's like all the teenagers are really, really good, but this Therese guy, you just get something about him. I can't explain it. And like you won't hear his name for
Remember
like
the
a
name.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
you won't hear his name for a year yet. You won't know who he is for a long time. But if he sticks with it and he comes up with a shell a bit more, I think he's gonna be really good.
As we look at wrapping this up, I came up with a new closing tradition. If you could leave
Okay.
the next guest with any piece of advice, what would it be? The advice that was left for you is to have fun and enjoy life, no matter what you're doing. Make sure you're having fun. And I think you're already doing that. So
Yes, absolutely. My advice for the next guest is if you like what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
I would like to be respectful of your time. So thank you so much for joining me today.